no any tangible notification before they ban us.
It's one thing for people to be at your back and the heat of the moment, and another thing for them to still be with you when push comes to shove.
I will do everything to take Lagos out of the national grid. In raising our kids, parents should stop playing God.
The internet is the values passed from generation to generation.
What we do not understand, we will stigmatize.
What you can see is the remaining of the tanker that exploded.
The suspect equally confessed.
A 500 naira they collect.
If you no talk, then go beat you.
Now 2,500 they pay.
The call by the Southeast, or the entire South, as it were, is not misplaced. But if you are to compute the number of years that the North has held power from 1999 to this period that we are, 2022, you will discover that the South has held power even more, much as we are not looking at things from that perspective. Olusegun Obasanjo, that I told you, that the South has held on to power for an 11 or more years in the 15 years of the PDP.
What we have in this country is a campaign of deceit. People say what you cannot do. You can't give what you don't have. My dear, you can't give what you don't have. In the first place,
Paula Saraki, the 8th Senate stood up to the failures of the Nigerian, of the executive. We must be grateful for that. I'll give you another example. Never before done. When every time the executive came to the 8th Senate to say, give us an approval for a loan, he always said, the 8th Senate always said, show us how that money is going to be spent. Show us documents relating to that loan, evidence for the application of that funding. Show us how we're going to repay that. Show us documents. Show us a plan from taking the debt to repaying the debt. Show us a plan. And on 11 occasions, the executive refused to do so.
If you lose soap, you're gone. There are a lot of things to be hopeless about. But I will thought she's too started. There is a lie, it's a flash in the pan. But no, after she's gone, we didn't hear NAFDAC again like that. So there are still good people. And before even this picture, I will be wondering
that they want to discard. I look forward to a time when accountability will be the watchword of Nigeria's leaders. Maybe then, just maybe then, Nigeria can truly work.
Lawmakers react to the ruling on Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act, asking Abubakar Malami against its implementation. And the presidency accuses the People's Democratic Party of plotting to destabilize Nigeria. This is Plus Politics, and I'm Kofi Bertels. And let's move to a first story for discussion. Tonight on the program, the Nigerian Senate and indeed the House of Representatives have responded to the judgment of a federal high court in Umuahia, Abia State that nullified the Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022. While the senators vowed to appeal the judgment, the representatives cautioned the Attorney General of the Electoral Act and reacting to the judgment of the judgment of the court, the House of Representatives condemned the judgment and resolved to formally write a letter of complaint to the National Judicial Council, the NJC. Joining us to discuss this, we're glad to say we have a member of the House of Representatives. Rima Shawulu represents the people of Takum, Donga, Usa and Yangtu Federal Constituency in Taraba State. Honorable Shawulu, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for having me here.
All right. Despite the introduction we've given, I want you to run our viewers through what transpired on the floor of...
It's a judgment that smacks of what people have been complaining about in the Nigerian political system, mainly that politicians are trying to bring the judiciary into disrepute. There is no reason whatsoever for the court, for instance, to enter into, to accept that case the way it was accepted, to give an order against a party that was not a party to the suit, and to order further that the executive should perform the duties of the legislature by going to delete a section of the Electoral Act. What the Honorable Court should have done or should have stopped at would have been simply to say, in his opinion, that the said section of the Constitution was null and void to the extent of its inconsistency to a specific section of the Constitution. But he didn't do that. And people are wondering why the judgment, where the case was not entered into in Abuja, and where the National Assembly is, and why the National Assembly was not joined as a party to the case, in the case that National Assembly is a direct participant. Now, the fact of the matter is what we have tried to do in the trust system, which is why so much pressure was put on the National Assembly to make sure that the Electoral Act was passed. That is why several forms of compromises were reached, and the president, in his wisdom, signed the Electoral Act and also sought for an amendment to the Electoral Act. If the president would request the National Assembly to do the amendment, where was the executive? Where was the minister in a hurry to go to court to procure a court judgment that will enable him, as people allege, to contest election? If he is interested in contesting election, he is well within his right to contest election. He might as well simply go straight to resign, to contest election. Nobody stops him from contesting election. But you cannot...
Okay. Honorable Shawulu, are you saying Attorney General and Minister of Justice, despite the fact that we know that a lawyer and top member of the Action Alliance, Ndukadede, was the one who filed the suit to challenge the constitutionality of the provision included in the Electoral Act? You're insisting that this was all orchestrated by Malawi simply because he wants to contest the next elections and doesn't want to resign from office earlier than 30 days. So it therefore means that the president doesn't know what is going on, and maybe he's not aware.
Do this to caution, because he's done that a few times. Now, the issue of the president's ability to rule and people within his government taking actions or laws into their hands are completely two different things. And I believe that the people who are promoting this, the people who do not wish this country well. For instance, it's simply for a sitting central bank governor anywhere in the world to want to contest election while sitting on top of the central bank.
Gordon Emefiele, the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, has already said that he's not interested in running for office. He's already said that because those people who went to court, or the names of some of the people who went, are the same people that are promoting his candidature, and that is simply against the economy. It's economic sabotage for a sitting governor of the central bank to dabble into politics, or people around him to dabble into politics. What does that mean? That every action that he has taken so far are meant to achieve a political end. What is the implication of that to the people who want to invest in the economy?
What I'm saying
that
is
you said a few minutes ago, Honorable Shaulu, that you said that Malami was is interested in running for office. That's why he's pushing this. But Mr. President,
if he's interested in running for office, he should resign.
Yeah, is he?
That the judge cannot give instruction to him to go and perform a legislative function.
All right,
and if he dares to perform a legislative function, it means that he has an interest.
Okay, but you know, President Buhari wrote to the National Assembly and sent a bill to you requesting the deletion or the amendment of that section 84 subsection 12. So would it be fair on Malami to say he is behind all of this?
Well, that is for him to come out to speak for himself, number one, and number two is for him also to refuse to perform legislative functions and wait for the process as enshrined in the Constitution to take place. What is the process as enshrined in the Constitution? That if the president objects to any legislative proposal from the National Assembly, he vetoes the legislation. If he on the other hand signs it and he decides at a later time to send a letter to the National Assembly asking for amendment, he's within his right to do that. Then they should wait for the legislative process to be concluded.
You did talk about, I'm sure you have accepted, you recognize that it was an individual Nigerian, not a member of government, a lawyer and top member of the...
There is somebody behind him that's asking him to go to court. Like the Association for Better Nigeria, who went to get the 1993 election annulled. He was not acting, he was not an independent person. And would you, for instance, any ordinary citizen, go to the crowded courts today and get judgment within a few days and get the court to listen to you within a few days?
It's been happening, you know, especially political cases. You have some swift rulings.
Political cases means that some political interests are pushing it.
Okay, but so you mentioned, you did say at a point, Honorable Shaulu, that there's someone who Nduka, the plaintiff, the one who filed the suit, rather, is whose interest he's trying to protect. The person who wants to be president. Can you give us insight into who you're referring to?
No, I didn't say that.
No, you mentioned, you said whoever owned the car is...
I did not say that. You should ask, I did not say there's a particular person. I did not say that. There are interests. Okay. And whoever goes to instance, well over 1 year, for people who decamp from their political parties to other political parties, courts have not got judgment. We have not got judgment on most of them yet. Most of them have not got to the stage of judgment. And then Electoral Act that was signed by the president a few days ago, now we've got judgment. It stands to reason that there's something, and it is the responsibility, therefore, for those who do investigation like you, or people who are producing the program, to find out, call the person who came, who are those who went to court, why did you go to court? Who are those behind you? Where did you get the money?
I'm sure.
And then you go to his bank accounts. You go to his bank account and find out where they got the money to.
So are you saying that Nduka Edede was bribed?
I don't know.
Are you alleging that also the trial judge was also bribed as well? You're talking about Milord, the Honorable Justice Ayandike. Are you saying she was bribed by Nduka Edede? Is that what you're saying, sir?
That is what you are saying.
No, because you were saying we should check bank accounts.
That is what you are saying.
So Honorable Shaulu, whose bank accounts are you saying we should go check?
Go and check the Nduka's account, where he got the money to file the case.
All right. And are you also saying that
you should do some investigation?
Yes. So are you also? I'm writing it down. Are you also saying that?
Also go and find out. For instance, go and find out why the cases that were filed by the PDP long ago in Rivers State and some other states about members who decamp from PDP have not been heard.
Honorable Shaulu, is something a message you're trying to pass to us? Is something you know that we don't know? So can you spill the beans for us?
I don't have beans to spill. I've told you.
Because you're speaking in parables.
I'm not speaking in parables. If you have something you want to say, you can say them.
It seems there's something you're aware of that you feel not free to say.
Don't say what you want to say through me.
All right, but let's move on.
If you have something to say, you say it.
You're making some insinuations and telling us to go check, which means you have some information.
There's no insinuation.
Or you're telling us to go find out some things. You know why cases were stopped.
Yes.
So is it that there's something you know about these things that may be wrong? If you know, maybe you can just make our job easy and tell us.
Why don't you say it? I've told you what you should find out.
Okay.
That cases are in court that have not been heard.
Okay.
And this case is too fast for it to be heard.
Why have those cases not been heard?
I don't know.
Okay. What about the element of time? And I do know that in jurisprudence, there's some of these considerations are brought to bear. We're aware of the election timetable. We're aware of the fact that election is just around the corner, less than a year from now. We're aware that there was this clamor for the president
of amendment of constitution
for the president to sign the electoral act because of the element of time. And INEC, even through its National Commission of Voter Education, Festus Okoye, had been crying and saying we need the electoral act passed quickly because we are running out of time. So is it impossible that the trial judge, my Lord Justice, what's her name again, Anya Adike, looked at the time frame, say, okay, this is a time-bound case, so let's hear it, because we need to be done with this because election is around the corner, and whatever INEC does is guided by the act. So are you being fair?
Is that what she told? Is that what the judge told you?
No, but these are the things they look at, sir. I'm sure you're aware of this.
So is that the basis for not joining the National Assembly as a party to the case?
No, you were talking about the fact that the case was heard too quickly.
Is that the reason why National Assembly was not joined as a party to the case?
I don't know. But I'm asking you.
So I don't know too.
You know, because you said the case was heard too quickly, and I said there's an element of time that is considered by judge.
Is that what the judge told? If the judge told you that is an element of time, the National Assembly is going to appeal.
I don't know. I'm asking you. Okay. All right, sir.
I'm asking you too.
I don't know. That's why you are. Guess I'm asking the questions. But I don't. So why would a judge, you know, of the standing of the Honorable Justice Anya Adike of the Federal High Court in Umuahia fast track such a case? You think?
Well, I don't know. You should go and ask the judge.
No, because you seem to be having some issues with that. So,
are you okay with the speed with which the judgment was, with which it was had?
Honorable, why do you think Madam Mrs. Ayadike was very quick with this?
I don't know what she said. I don't know anything about her motive. But I'm saying that there's a process for amendment of the Constitution that should be followed.
All right. Let's look at some insinuations. You know, this has been the governors on the other side. You know, the National Assembly came up with the issue of direct primaries, and this was rejected. The president sent the bill back to the House. The governors also went to see him and voiced, you know, their strong opinion, rejection of this, or, you know, and they didn't want to have this in the bill. The Senate President also was a frequent visitor to the presidential villa, along with the Speaker of the House of Reps. So it was evident that you had both sides going for something different. Some have said that the National Assembly members are simply trying to insure themselves with this amendment of the Electoral Act. And they do not want the powers, you know, in the state to be against them. This time we're talking about the state governors. What do you say to that?
Well, my take about it is I don't believe that it is right for it takes place in many areas. Of course, I would have wished that we did not put the stringent conditions that we put in the Electoral Act concerning having candidates sign agreements and so forth, because people can just abuse it by going to buy forms when they don't intend to contest election, but just create crisis within political parties. The fact of the matter is that political parties are self-described political parties are the 5 leprous fingers of Abacha. We cannot do that. Parties have to choose the way they want to do things. Now, talking about members of National Assembly wanting to fight their way, political elections all over the world, there's no one section of the polity determines what happens in any political party. Every interest has to be taken care of, and people, whether they are members or not, have to cooperate with people at home with people everywhere before they go ahead with winning any elections. You cannot sit in Abuja and win any election. You have to go back home. And if you go back home, you need to get people to help you win election. So the question, therefore, that National Assembly members want to fight their governors is just mischief. No member of National Assembly that I know will want to go and be fighting his governor. The governor has different duties and responsibilities. National Assembly members have different duties and responsibilities. What does happen is simply political. Some people will go to the governor, who is a major stakeholder in any state, to ask to discredit members of National Assembly. It's a normal thing. And if people have on the other hand, if some members of National Assembly have their way, they will go to their governors or other stakeholders to discredit the other people. So, question of saying members of National Assembly are doing this because they want to fight. Where will you fight your governor? You are supposed to work with the governor to improve the state. So, the issue, therefore, is that people should not be afraid of election. People should not be afraid. Election, there are two things: you win or you lose. Today you win, tomorrow you lose. Or today you lose, tomorrow you win. Okay. Or you retire from politics. So the issue, therefore, for me, is that we need to clean up an electoral process. And I'm very happy with the recent court judgments on decamping, people moving from their political parties. It's been so difficult for people outside Nigeria to understand why somebody is in one party today, tomorrow is in another party.
Yeah, Honorable Sholu, thank you. But the House of Reps has had very strong words for the Honorable Justice Aya Dike, and has reported her to the National Judicial Council. It's a clear case of the judge saying that the Nigerian constitution stipulates that appointees of government seeking to contest elections must resign at least 30 days to the date of election. And she also went on to say that any other law mandating such appointees to resign or to leave office at any time before that 30 days is unconstitutional, invalid, illegal, null, and void to the extent of its inconsistency with the very clear provisions of the Constitution. And you are very aware of this, Honorable. You are very aware of this.
That is a very, very, very poor reading of the Constitution. The Constitution, there are processes of election. The fact that you resign from, the fact that you contest primaries does not mean you are going to contest the election. So the law is talking about people resigning from their positions to contest general elections. The National Assembly is talking about resigning to participate in primaries. They are not the same and cannot be construed to be the same.
Aren't the primaries a part of the electioneering processes? Because if you look at the INEC timetable, sorry sir.
It's not everybody that contests the primaries that contests the general election.
Yes, but I'm saying that it's part of the election cycle.
The Constitution is talking about contesting the elections as conducted by INEC. The parties as self-governing as associations have a right to make their rules about the conduct of their members, and you cannot take it away from the parties. So the parties are saying that the National Assembly is saying that for the purpose of primaries, you need to vacate your office so that you participate in the primaries.
Why is that the case?
Primary is not the same. Primary is not the same thing
why the focus by the National Assembly on primaries in particular? That is saying they cannot be delegates. You're saying they cannot vote or be voted for. Why the focus on primaries?
When you are talking about the legal system, about the institutions, you are talking about building institutions that can stand the test of time. Now there is no rule about the number of political appointees that can be appointed. It happened in between 1999 that towards election, some governors appoint up to 1,000, 2,000 political appointees so that their numbers can influence and distort the elections. That is not fair. That destroys the political parties. What happens to the people who have been holding political offices without salary for all this period, that they don't have a say in who should go and contest election? So there's a reason why National Assembly did that. It's been abused and abused and abused and abused. And so for the purpose of primaries, if you want to participate in primaries, leave your political appointment and go and face it. If you finish and you fail, you may be reappointed by your boss. But for now, the law is that you cannot participate if you are a political appointee, be a delegate. Why should people be holding party offices and then they are not qualified to be delegates because some people have received political appointments? They will be delegates.
We have to go. I'm sure a lot of Nigerians will want to see the same energy by the members of the National Assembly when it comes to issues that do not directly affect their political fortunes. Honorable Rima Shaulu, thank you very much. He's a member representing Takum Yamtu Federal Constituency. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, sir. It's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure having you. And I mean, you've done so well to answer all the questions. I look forward to having you again. Thank you for your time, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for staying with us on Plus Politics. We'll take a short break now, and when we return, we'll discuss the APC alleging that the People's Democratic Party is planning to destroy the country. We'll be right back.
Suffered equally confessed.
You're welcome back. You're still watching Plus Politics on Plus TV Africa. The presidency has chided the main opposition issued by the People's Democratic Party through its National Publicity Secretary, Debo Ologun Nagba, where it accused the President Muhammadu Buhari and his All Progressives Congress of abdicating its duties amid hardship being passed through by Nigerians. Joining us to discuss this, we have two gentlemen, Dimeji Fabiyi, a member of the People's Democratic Party who has been accused of plotting to destabilize Nigeria, and we ask him about that. And Segun Shopiton, he is a political analyst. Gentlemen, welcome to Plus TV Politics.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here.
All right, let's tell you, Dimeji, what is the People's Democratic Party saying about the situation of things in the country? Because we read somewhere some days ago that they were talking about a violent uprising, similar to end SARS.
Thank you very much. PDP is just playing its role as an opposition, and they're just saying it as it is. It's no more news. The situation the country has presently found itself under the leadership of the APC. So PDP is only calling the attention of Nigerians to it, which does not necessarily mean that they are calling for uprising or anything. All over the world, in even advanced democracies, the opposition parties, as it were, will look at issues, look at the current situation in the country, and then make a statement as a kind of warning to the government to up their game and rise in the defense and in the favor of the citizens of the country. For APC to have said that PDP is trying to destabilize Nigeria is not only uncharitable, it is equally very, very ridiculous. Nigerians are wise enough to know what the situation in the country are. Is it in the area of security? Is it economy? Very recently, APC had become a problem not only to itself, but to the generality of Nigerians. So as far as I know, the PDP is only saying it as it is. They're just calling the attention of Nigerians and the government in power to please do something about the plight of Nigerians. This is not a better deal. This is not a... So that's what PDP is trying to say. PDP shares in the pains of Nigeria. PDP is sharing because all of us go to the same market and all of us know what's up. Look at aviation fuel, most unfortunate on behalf or on the part of the APC. PDP is only saying it as it is and being on the side of Nigeria as they've always been. And that's why we are telling them that Nigerians, look, you need a better deal. This guy, you have tested them. You have tested 2 wives. In the 16-year rule of PDP, we knew what they did. The records are there. They may not be perfect, but it's not as what we're facing under the leadership of inept government of APC.
All right.
So, my brother,
all right,
Nigerians know better. And nobody needs to spur them into crisis.
Especially those of us that are not necessarily partisan, is that there's a lot of politicking going on, and we're approaching elections. so you get a lot of this going forward over the next 12 months, or maybe 10 months or thereabouts. In fact, 12 months until the elections themselves happen. We're going to get a lot of back and forth between these two brothers, and I think, and I call them brothers because it's very, very important for Nigerians to note that there really isn't much of a difference between these two parties. With all due apologies to my brother, and my co-panelist, there really isn't much of a difference. The PDP and the APC are peopled by the same characters who have run this country down. Even if you want to be charitable and start from this democracy from 1999, it's the same characters. They just swap parties, they swap platforms as it suits their personal interest at that moment, right? And then if you want to go beyond 1999, it's still the same characters. It's ridiculous. So yes, I agree with a lot of the stuff that the PDP have said. Much of it is rooted in fact. It's a fact that the Nigerian economy is in dire straits, in dire waters. Exchange rates wise, inflation wise, just name it. Interest rates, the productive sector, manufacturing. Let's even forget the crisis that we're experiencing now with petroleum products and all that. We know that there is a global incident that is pouring or that is behind that. But look beyond that. The Nigerian economy is not in good shape. Nigerians are not in good shape. You don't need to be reminded how the middle class, anybody that can afford an immigration plan now, is leaving the country. In droves. It's terrible, right? And that obviously is driven by the fact that the system is simply not working for the people they should be working for. The only people that are still staying behind are people that can't afford to leave. So yes, what the PDP is saying is not too far from the truth. But my problem is what their motive is. The motive is their motive to get the country to work. Is their motive to get the APC to do better. Or is their motive to create the impression that suits their own agenda so that they can also get back into power and continue the sham? What we have as governance in Nigeria right now is a sham, and it wasn't better under the PDP before this government came, and it's not any better now in spite of all the promises that this government made that gave so many people so much hope. It's been such a huge disappointment for those that vested so much hope in the APC, but I think what has become very clear and very obvious to those that choose to be deliberately independent of thought is that there's no difference between these two parties. So I call them APDPC.
Fantastic.
Because it's just the same group of people.
Yeah. Dimeji, are you there? Okay, he's there. Dimeji, you've listened to your brother, your counterpart, Shopiton. He's simply saying, in other words, that the PDP's cry is simply a case of kettle calling pot black. What do you say to this?
Well, that's not true as far as I am concerned, and I know as far as some Nigerians are concerned. During PDP time, there were appreciable achievements that government of PDP made. And I'm here to see those appreciable achievements of this current government. And I can tell you, how much was dollar to a naira during PDP time? How much was a bag of rice? How much was the petroleum pump price at that time? What was the foreign direct investment at that time?
Dimeji, he agrees with all of this. He's just questioning your motive. And he's saying that you are the same, is what he's saying.
That's exactly what I'm telling you, that we're not the same. It's not the same. We may have some actors who move from one party to the other, but the programs of both governments are not the same. How many people were being killed on a daily basis during PDP time? Did we see where people were being slaughtered on a daily basis, as we are seeing now. What was the level of insecurity during the PDP time, and now we can continue on like that. Even the corruption profile let's balance them. APC is more corrupt. How many people were tried under APC? Do you know how many people? A minister,
yes, please
listen,
go.
My brother.
Go on.
Let's do this. A Senate president of this country was almost sent to jail for corruption. Under PDP. How many high-ranking government officials of APC has gone to jail? How many? So let us be honest with ourselves. What PDP is simply saying is that, look, Nigerians, you're not getting a better deal under this government.
Okay, so are you saying that the PDP in the 16 years that it ruled Nigeria was not as corrupt as APC? So is it now we're corrupt, but we're not as corrupt as them? Or is that what you're saying?
Corruption lives today. Corruption lives in the presidency, lives in the villa. We know. Nigerians know.
Was it not there under the People's Democratic Party, Dimeji? Because we have cases to show. I'm sure if you open your case for your party's case file, you would see that it's full. Should we go? Should we start?
Like I told you, bring it up. Do you understand?
Should we talk about Dasuki Gate? Should we talk about the Desiani case? Should I go on? So are you saying that the PDP is corrupt but not as corrupt as the APC? I ask you again.
I am just telling you that the corruption under APC is quite monumental, and they are there for Desiani people who want to know. So for me not to dwell too much on that, let me tell you this. Nigeria now, everybody knows at the precipice. And we got to this point because we don't have a leadership that is ready to frontally address issues. PDP raised the issue of NSAS. Has it been properly addressed, where Nigerian youths were maimed, killed, and all that? The rest is history today. This is not what we are talking about.
What did the People's Democratic Party do in its time to end police brutality? Can you tell us, please? In 16 years. Should I give you the cases of police brutality before 2015? You want me to give that to you?
My brother, police brutality has always been. It's not brutality under the APC government. This is the reality. The facts are there. You are a journalist. Go and get your facts and bring it up.
All right. Let's go to Segun Shopiton. Segun, do you think that the People's Democratic Party has a moral right to refer to the NSAS protests and talk about police brutality and use that as a yardstick, to further its own political point, what they're trying to say?
Voice that is robust, vibrant, and articulate. The PDP has tried to varying degrees of success to provide that voice in the past. Some people would argue that, let's focus on the message and leave the messenger for a second. So if we look at that, then I would say, oh, well, maybe they don't have a moral right, actually, because they were no better. This police brutality issue that we're talking about, just like you rightly said, it didn't start last year. It didn't start with NSAS. It's been with us for a long time. So again, let's start from 1999. So what measures did the PDP government put in place to improve the very obvious? The issues of the police are obvious. If you underpay a man, you are paying him such an amount that is inadequate to take care of his basic needs, and then you give him a gun. It is an inevitability that he will use that gun to further his own personal interest. It's just logic. It's human interest and human nature. So what did the PDP do? In its 16 years in power at the federal level? Remember that the police is a federal agency directly controlled by the presidency and by the federal government. So what did the police, the PDP do in those 16 years to get the police to be better equipped, to be better funded, to be better paid, to be better personnel with better quality human beings, educated people that think well, to be better, to be better exposed to modern policing techniques? What did they do? We all know the answer. Nothing, right? So if you want to talk about the moral right of the PDP, they don't have it. But that's not to say that they can't speak to the issues that are obvious and confronting us as a country today. Having said that, Kofi, I would like to say, and this is more to Nigerians than to anybody else, that if come 2023, right, it's very, very, very likely that it will be one of these two parties that will produce your next president and that will populate the national assemblies and the government houses across the states and the state houses of assembly. And on the strength of the evidence of the last 23 years, nothing is going to change. I think we need to get this message and get it loud. Nothing is going to change in 2023, regardless. Whether it's Atiku, whether it's Tinubu, whether it's APC, whether it's PDP, nothing is going to change if these guys are the ones that emerge in 2023. So what do we need to do? As Nigerians, we have to come together to rally and mobilize what Madam Obieze-Kwesili called the dormant voter base. We have a population of about 50 million voters that never participate, and I think there are even more than that don't participate in the voting, the electoral process, because they don't believe in it. They believe that it's all rigged and it's all a waste of time. I am saying to Nigerians that we've got to wake up and realize, smell the coffee, and realize that these guys that have been driving this boat or this ship or this car have been driving us in the wrong direction consistently for the last 23 years, and it's not going to change.
Okay.
So can we find a way to get an alternative platform, to get alternative people? For goodness sake, we've got quality minds, top quality minds, buying and, sorry, Kofi, buying and offering themselves across the various government platforms. Can we find a way to get them into office and kick these guys out? Kick out the APC, kick out the PDP. Enough.
We have to go. A final word from you, Dimeji Fabi. I would have loved to ask you if the Nigerians should come out and protest against the government. What should they do against state governments, including PDP states, who are owing humongous amounts in debts? I don't have time to go into that. So, final word from you.
Well, thank you very much. I think Nigerians deserve a better deal, and for them to get that, PDP has made mistakes, and they have realized those mistakes. Another chance for PDP will give Nigeria what they've always desired. I'm so sure about that. Nigeria needs a unifier at this point because the country is in a bad shape. And that's where people like Atiku, that the man said cannot do it, comes in. With his experience, with his...
Thank you very much. We're out of time. Dimeji Fabi is a member of the People's Democratic Party. Shehu Shopito is a political analyst. Gentlemen, I'm sorry, because of time, we have to pull the plugs up. But I want to thank you very much for giving us a very robust conversation. Thank you, Dimeji and Shehu.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, still Plus Politics. Before we say goodbye, let's quickly run you through our Vox Pop segment. Of course, we round up today's show with Nigerians telling us their thoughts as regards the People's Democratic Party and their ability to rule. I'm Kofi Patel's Plus Politics returns tomorrow. Good night.
By the grace of God, this country is for Nigeria, and I believe anybody saying he will develop this country is a verbal talk. Personally, my opinion is that God is the only one that can put somebody that will make this country to be a... Promises have been made several times, and I believe, well, we don't have anybody to say, actually, this is the person that will be the God sent. But let's give any person a trial, because with a trial, it may even work out.
No, the fact remains that it's not all about the party. It's all about a person and his own personality. So, unlike me, I don't vote party, but I vote.
To me, I believe in God choosing president for us. It is only who God chooses that can develop this country, not has anything to do with that PDP or APC. Even in another party, let the person be God choosing candidate. I think that is the best thing for us in this country.
date for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Buki November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
From the Barbarian, I pay my land.
Of the national grid.
Hello and welcome to What Are You Saying? Hashtag Ways, where we talk about topics in the news as it affects us all. I am Osayome Saleh. Elsie Godri. And we have a full house.
Hi, people.
Hi, Elsie.
How are you?
Elsie, why did you do that?
What did I
That's
do?
so unfair. You didn't even allow
It's part of the show,
She
don't
does it all
worry.
the time. To be candid, she does it all the time.
Alero.
What did I do?
You didn't do anything. You didn't do. They didn't cut you.
It's good to be on the show.
Yes, it is. It is good to be here.
So how are you? Who are we starting with? EC, Alero, I've not seen you this week. How are you ladies doing?
Very well, thank you. And it's been a while. I've been on Tuesday, so
Yes.
I'm happy to be here on Tuesday.
No, I've not seen you this week. Alero, how are you?
I'm fine. Oh, I'm doing very well. It's been a while, Abby.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think I was here. I was just only on Tuesday last week as well.
Our latest MBA graduate.
Oh, Jesus.
Yay!
Yes. I finally graduated from Nexford University.
You done did it.
Yes, MBA in e-commerce. Thank you.
You did do it, girl.
I'm still on the way.
It feels good though. All the assignments.
Elsie,
Do you
how
want
are
to
you?
know how I'm?
Yes, please. How are you, darling?
Tell us.
Elsie is just
I'm
one
okay,
big
oh,
wahala.
I'm very fine. Thank you.
I know, you have to tell
All
them
that
about-
drama
let
to
them
just
know
say
about
I'm
what
very
happened
fine,
to you.
thank
I
you.
don't have fuel. So I was driving with the mindset that, I mean, it's a normal day, like we're back to what it used to be, and suddenly I realized that I
No
can't get
fuel.
fuel
There's
anywhere.
There's a queen.
I don't understand, and I'm almost on reserve. So if you don't see me on the show tomorrow,
You'll be on the
it's
show.
Buhari.
Eh?
Boo-boo.
All right, so today we want to talk about something very interesting. Oh wow, time has.
Yeah.
We're discussing sexual assault for men, right? And you know, because it seems like all the time when there's an assault, women don't pay attention when it has to do with the guy. I mean, if it was the other way, if it had flipped the coin of what had happened with that musician that was performing on stage and his genitals were grabbed. I mean, if it was a woman, we will not hear the last of it.
Oh,
so
yes.
we're discussing. So men, don't come and say, you people don't always, you know, talk
We
about.
are
We
here
are
to
talking
fight
about
for you
people
today.
now. And me, I have plenty things to tell you people. All right, so here's what we found as today's quote. You're not a victim for sharing your story. You are a survivor, setting the world on fire with your truth. And you never know who needs your light, your warmth, and raging courage. So for all the men out there, we're hoping that you begin to speak up when it comes to like assault or sexual harassment. You know,
You are a
because-
survivor.
Yeah, you are. So the Nigerian singer Michael Adebayo, popularly known as Ruga, was on Sunday assaulted by a female fan who grabbed him inappropriately while he was performing on stage. And the singer, who could not hide his anger at the incident, walked off the stage. So it's our ladies' night out, and EC, Alero, LC, and I are discussing sexual assault, and we're asking, do people really pay attention when a man gets assaulted? And when we open our phone lines, we really love to hear from the men. You know, we'd love to hear from women as well, but we want to hear about, you know, your experience with sexual assault. But first, let's go on a break to see what we found in the news. And it has a long history of bringing music to life with its delicate sound and beautiful resonance. But did you know that there's a holiday dedicated to pianos? Well, today, Piano Day is an annual worldwide event founded by a group of like-minded people that takes place on the 88th day of the year in 2022. It's today, that's the 29th of March, because of the number of keys on the instruments being celebrated. Now, World Piano Day has been designed to celebrate this incredible instrument, which has brought many of us so much joy over the years. No matter whether you play the piano yourself or you have an appreciation for this sort of music, we can all appreciate that listening to quality pianists is nothing but pure joy. So, happy World Piano Day. Yay! Who loves the piano here? Who plays the piano?
I don't know how to play, but I love the piano.
So I took lessons. I was taking lessons as a child until Sharia crisis started, and they burnt my piano that my mom bought for me. Because I took the piano to church so that they take me lessons. And so when the crisis broke, my piano was part of what got affected. So they burnt it in the church. So ever since I didn't
And
buy
that was the end of piano lessons.
I had kids, and my son is amazing with the
keyboard.
The one that the Catholics use, that they have the leg pressing and self-thought. So I think in the news,
we've kidnapped children from Lagos to Ibadan for rituals. So this was by an individual who is a kidnapper, and in an attempt to abduct a 4-year-old child from a school at Omole Estate, phase 1, the young man was caught. So his name is, let me try and get it out. His name is Kayode Olafisoye, and he's a 43-year-old man, and he's part of a syndicate that came from Ibadan to kidnap children in Lagos State. Now, he said he has never been to the area of Lagos State, but he has been kidnapping children around who actually escaped in the process. But of course, when he was caught, he actually said that he sometimes uses these children for rituals. So he sells them for
parents. Your child is going to school, and
this
kidnapper
kidnapper actually kidnapped. Yeah,
just
no, I'm just going.
Even antenatal alone.
I understand, but I'm just saying, if that's the only child that woman has, and
attention to most parents, please. When you have your kids in the car, my car, I'm blessed with the kind of car that it starts on its own. I can take the key out and lock the door. Holding the key, she had removed the key from the ignition. So imagine if she left the key on the ignition, he would have zoomed off with the child. Do you understand?
Yeah.
So please, when you have kids in the car, and probably you need to rush off to do something, just be conscious of that. If your car doesn't have that, or your children are not old enough for that central lock, best is just take them with you.
Take them with you into the store, wherever you're going to.
Okay, so Alero, your story.
Yes, so my story is also around the insecurity in Nigeria. So the Nigerian Railway Commission,
Corporation, right?
Yes, corporation, sorry, and NRC has suspended operations along the Abuja-Kaduna route after terrorists blew a truck and attacked a train Monday night. That was yesterday. Dear passengers, due to unforeseen circumstances, train operations along the Abuja-Kaduna route has been temporarily suspended. Further communications will be given in due course. The NRC tweeted on Tuesday, which was this morning. Terrorists attacked a train en route to Kaduna State on Monday evening, with many travelers feared abducted. What else Nigerians can actually do again? Because
airport, you know, to at the runway, in fact, they shot one of the security guards or something.
Yes.
That was the first attempt. Now for those that know the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway, Kaduna-Abuja Expressway was relatively safe, but all of a sudden there was so much cases of kidnapping and all of that. So the safest way for us, the only person keeping this Kaduna transaction is my father. He has refused to because he just loves the place. And it's not like Kaduna is a peaceful place. It's not somewhere that, you know, yeah, we had pockets of violence growing up, but right?
I think that's the only part I want to touch on, because I don't understand how something like this has happened, because this is a federal issue and the president is not giving speeches. He's not responding to anything. It seems like he doesn't even know that anything is happening. I know, like, if this is a marriage now, you say you're sounding like a nagging wife because we've said this over and over again. But it still needs to be said.
It's heartbreaking because how much
lives
value do we
have
have
been lost,
for human life
people
in this
are
country?
allegedly kidnapped, like you rightly.
Very beautiful girl. Chinelo, Megafo, she had been shot in her stomach and she tweeted and said, I'm on a train, I have been shot, please pray for me. That was the story. And of course, the next day, news broke that she didn't make it, right? So what really broke my heart with this tweet is, again, I mean, I'd like to throw this to Elsie because you are the social media person, right? Where do we draw the line when it comes to, or digital marketer, sorry, I'm sorry, darling. You know, where do we draw the line when it comes to issues of, right, clout chasing? Because where did it even come from?
Yeah.
Somebody said, please pray for me, I've been shot. And some people that I don't understand, maybe they're suffering from mental health. No, this is not mental health. This is actually, I don't even know what, I'm trying to hard not to use a strong word. How can somebody say that I have been shot and all you can think of is that this person is trying to clout chase?
Like, even if...
Right? Where do we draw the line in all of these things?
No, not Elsie.
You know, where do we draw the line?
Right, Elsie.
You know, where do we draw the line? Because I'm trying to find, Debola Williams now posted on social media, and he was talking. You needed to have seen some of the tweets to say that, right? You know, how can you say that?
I mean, how often do people go online to say, I'm being robbed or I'm dying? And even, let's assume that, okay, these people are not, but at least try as much as you can to empathize for that few.
Empathy.
Somebody now says, Oni Iro, or she
wasn't like a liar.
Do you understand? What's the meaning of that? Somebody now says, send us pictures.
So I mean, this is like beyond, okay, Elsie.
No, go ahead.
He said, then somebody now said something. This was the final one that just broke my this thing. That you have strength to type.
Can you imagine? If she hadn't, tweeted,
nobody would have known what even caused her death or what happened to her.
My question is this.
No.
So how do we know when someone is trying to chase the clout?
It doesn't even matter.
And when you're actually in dire need of that attention?
If somebody says, I have been shot,
like,
I have been shot is I have been shot.
I agree with you.
I have been in crisis. I understand this thing. The day my sisters were trapped and my mother had to look for military men and my father to go and bring them in the den of the crisis. None of us slept. We couldn't even eat. Everybody we were on standstill. They threw an axe to my mother through the car. It landed on her thigh. She had internal bleeding because she was trying to go and rescue her children. Somebody now tweets that I have been shot. And you are asking for pictures.
But do you know what this has?
Have we lost our humanity in this country?
It's crazy.
That's where I was going to.
This is also what
has
happens.
actually depicted what we are as a people,
as a human
being. Our social, emotional intelligence, for empathy, for feeling for another human being, it's practically dead.
Just
and
like
Twitter is not even a healthy place in the first place. So that's another thing.
This whole situation is really
Elsie,
scary.
let me hear your thoughts quickly before we run.
Elsie said she doesn't want to talk.
So what I was going to say is this same issue was what happened. It wasn't last week when we were talking about the Okada men, the bike men that was hit by that bus that they had to burn. People were busy taking videos and snapping pictures instead of helping out. So it's almost the same thing because this girl tweeted, right, saying that she was shot and you should help. And then it's the same incident that would have happened if you were passing on the road and you see somebody.
If I had seen comments like, where is your current location? Do you understand? How can we get, where's
So I also want to believe that
come on,
there were comments like that, but as us typical humans,
we focus on the negative comments.
I want to believe that we had more positive comments than this negative comment. That's one.
But it shouldn't have come up in the first place.
Of course. But in a gathering of 100 people, there must be mad people.
Yeah.
So, like I always say, social media is is the bigger picture or a magnified picture of who we really are.
Exactly.
So it's not, you won't be expecting the different attitude on social media. It's human beings, they are not bots. So if we are not, like you said, we've lost our humanity. Do you expect us to not have humanity when we're on social media? It's not going to happen. But I just wanted to point to what she said when she raised the issue of the person who was what? Did you say
last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Okada men that were killed by.
You might after investigations, police said, "Oh no." The parents said,
mother actually gave the
so
child.
that was not the case, right? I mean, I'm going somewhere based on we are in a situation whereby sensationalization is just what sells, and like you said, cloud chasing. I can't begin to give references now because honestly, I wasn't prepared for the show, right? But there are cases where people have chased cloud with things that you wonder, why would you even think
we have to draw
about
the line.
it? So like you said, we have to draw the line. I also want to hold on to the fact that we had more people that were sympathetic. It's just like how you put up a post, everybody's telling you, oh, you're beautiful, you're beautiful, you're beautiful.
And one person
but
just
when
comes.
one person comes to tell you what is wrong with you,
Let's
why is your
believe
leg
that.
bent like this,
Let's
that
believe
is the one
you will now focus on.
So no, that is not, this whole comments that are being amplified is not the bigger picture of Nigerian youth or the true picture of Twitter in Nigeria, because we have used Twitter to save a lot of lives. We have used Twitter to raise funds. We have used the same Twitter to do a lot of good that I can begin to mention right now. So it doesn't end in this few stupid people, apologies, I have to use that word, right, that have done what they have done right now. Even the one that said, I think I saw the tweet where someone said, are you dead now? I'm wondering, why would you even tweet that?
How will you tweet that?
So it also takes me back to saying what I say every time to parents. Our parenting is no longer limited to have that conversation with your children, especially when they have phones and then they have social media. Ask them, what kind of comments do you drop? What kind of pages do you follow? Who are
lawyers of those people that tweeted those things?
Everything.
We'll fish them out and
So
sack them.
On this note, I would like to say or add that
your employers are watching.
If you don't have anything nice to say,
just shut up.
Don't say anything.
Must you drop a comment?
Zip it. Drop a comment.
Zip your mouth.
Just one comment.
No, this one is not. You're not talking now.
What's
it called? Clip your fingers if you don't have any good thing to type.
I'm
telling you. Really. All right. So on that note, to take a break, we want to talk about sexual assaults for men. Right? Stay with us. We'll be right back.
It is engagement we need to have.
Those who suffer miscarriages are never taken into account.
Members of the National Assembly are also influence peddlers.
All right, thanks for staying with us. Now, according to Counseling Center, in legal terms, sexual assault is any sexual contact that is against a person's will or without consent. And this includes situations where force, violence, or weapon are used, as well as situations where the victim is too intoxicated or scared to give consent. Now, sexual assault can happen to anyone, no matter your age, sexual orientation, or gender identity. Men and boys who have been sexually assaulted or abused may have many of the same feelings and reactions as other survivors of sexual assault, but they may also face some additional challenges because of the social attitude and stereotypes about men and masculinity. Now, do people pay attention when a man gets sexually assaulted, or they just shrug it off? Now, please, let us share what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation. Send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-4663. You can also tweet at us at WaysHowAfrica1 with the hashtag WaysShow. I don't know if we'll have that video. I mean, if anybody had seen that video, but if not,
it's not just masculinity, it's toxic masculinity, because masculinity is not a bad thing. It's when the toxicity comes into it that it becomes a problem.
Okay. On that note. Yeah. So I don't know if they saw, anybody saw the video that went viral over the weekend, right? So a young boy was performing on stage. And the next thing, a girl that had probably was shaking her bum on stage, he didn't give her attention, came back down, and when he was singing, you know, towards her, she just reached out and grabbed his.
Yeah, it was horrible.
So the guy got upset and walked off the stage.
It was horrible.
Now, you see, this sexual assault, when it comes to men, right? I think men are the biggest problem. The domestic violence, DRS TV, whatever. Do you understand? We make a lot of noise when it comes to sexual assault, when it's around a woman. But I don't understand for the life of me, because I was talking to a man, a fellow man, and he said the girl was not hot enough. So, like, if she was hot enough, he would not have been angry. Like, how can you see sexual assault and give it a name that the guy is not man enough or something? No. Because, you know why I'm saying this, Alera? Because most times when women don't talk about men's sexual assault, they say women don't like to talk about it. But the truth is that men themselves do not even see it. You know, they take pride in things like that. How can you take pride in things like that?
So from the angle of that video and starts to shame Ruga that he's not a guy man, or he's not the person is not, I'm sorry to say, but the person is not okay. Because the truth of the matter is that I'm not saying this has happened to Ruga before. What if this thing is a trigger for him? Because he's a musician, right? He's on stage performing, which means that he has to be A-okay mentally. But look at what happened. That alone, even though people might think it's like an innocent move from the girl, it has basically triggered something in him that will probably, that day, I'm sure he would not be himself anymore. A lot of men have been through this thing, and even if some men will see it as he's not a bad guy or he's a chicken, other men actually don't like it. If it's not consensual, I don't want it. I don't want it. So the way we're making noise about women, let's also make noise about men, because there's so many male that have gone through this sexual assault, either directly or indirectly, that actually really needs people to actually speak up for them as well, because it's annoying. It's really, really annoying. I want somebody to wait. Let me hold on.
If I may step in there, look, we have. When a woman has been assaulted, the first thing, there's a slogan they will say, no means what? No. So first thing for the man, no means no. Don't touch him inappropriately if he doesn't want to play with you, all right? And how does a man get assaulted? First things first, they feel that, oh, he's a man. He doesn't need to feel bad about it. You know, it should be a privilege for him to experience it. You know, there are different ways that these children or these men have been assaulted. It starts from, look at most men, first things first. The first sexual orientation is from a house help or someone who is close to them, or an auntie who might be once piggy looking girl. And at the end of the day, what happens? They see it as normal. At least they've been able to experience the sexual.
You see it as a thing of pride.
As a thing of pride. So they do not say a thing about it. Instead, they actually indulge in it over and over and over again. Now, not knowing that they have psychological issues as they go along. But my sincere apologies to whoever you were speaking to, but I think there was a level of perversion in his life when he was
actually abused.
Yes.
You understand? So, but they never talk about it because
they repress it, and they feel that it is okay.
It's normal. Instead, they take pride that I started having sex since I was 5.
Thank you.
How can you say that?
How can you say that? So no means no, and it still comes back to our culture. But we feel that, oh, the man should start experiencing this thing early. He should know that he's a man. When things like this come your way, that means you are a bad guy. You know. Meanwhile, you're actually being assaulted, taken advantage of. You know, I have been in an environment where a boy of 5 was assaulted by his auntie. Now, when he saw something like that, what do you think the boy will be like when he grows up? That's the end of the story.
So we have a lot of randy men everywhere.
Yes. Aside from that, psychologically, that boy will become depressed. He wouldn't even know what's wrong with him. Yeah. Why do you think we have so much drug abusers these days? It's part of it. Everybody is trying to repress something, let go of something. So
let me hear Elsie.
The toll continues.
This year has actually said really what I would have loved to say, because I mean, it's interesting to even see Ruga's face, because this is the first time I'm seeing his face.
Yeah. I don't even know him. What
you know, I've heard the name. You definitely will know his song.
Oh, okay.
So again, I'll just take it back just to stay away from a lot of negativity. Now is that we're at an age where you can have the song that is going around the whole world. I remember when CK had sexual relationship through abuse.
Yeah.
And at least I know that some of them now can actually come out to say, oh yes, I was abused, and they understand that it's abuse. But a lot of them also do awareness. The awareness you had about sex is wrong one, it's abusive too. It's the whatever we call sex education, sexually have to carry or bear the consequences for a lot of things. Yeah. So when it comes to pregnancy, that woman the carrier. If it comes to, in fact, this was a guy that raised it, that even with STIs, women are even more susceptible to getting those STIs. So the pregnant that her family would be seen as,
okay, Elsie,
oh,
before
you know, train and wear.
Don't make it about women. But let us come back to
that. I'm just making it clear that
this might be the reason. I just want to hear from men, you know. If somebody walks up to you and comes and grabs you or whatever, because somebody told me that if they grab it, that the only time he considers it as assault is when she does not follow through after the grabbing.
I think he's probably he has a face in his imagination.
Let's go on a break.
That's what he probably does.
We'll be right back. Want to open our phone lines. All right, so if you just tune in, it's our ladies' night out, and we are focusing on sexual assault, and we're asking, do people really pay attention when a man gets assaulted? And please let us hear what you have to say. Remember, you can join the conversation, send us an SMS or WhatsApp to 081-803-84663. You can also tweet at us at WaveShowAfrica1 with the hashtag WaveShow. Our phone line is also now open to call. The number is 07025 007749. Remember the rules. Turn off the volume of your television set. The number to call again is 07025007749. All right, so I mean, when a guy tells you that if you grab it, as long as you are ready to go through, it means that he sees it as nothing. Yeah. He has absolutely private area. Shouldn't you say no? It's unacceptable. Why do most men accept it and now say next thing they're in bed, they now say, oh, she seduced me and all of that, right? So, again, it's annoying because again, when we talk about sexual assault or sexual harassment or sexual whatever, and we're always focusing on women, they will call and start saying that.
And he refused. And the next thing, this person lives in Lagos, and the next thing he's been transferred to Akwa Ibom. And he was there for 1 year. Then she transferred him to one of the northern states, and he was there for another year, all because he refused. So men go through these things either at work or even on general notes. And like Elsie said, for a man to say no to sex is always, a little bit, it sounds very alien, it sounds very strange.
They'll say you're not a man.
But the truth is, there are young boys or even adults that are still working with the traumas that they've been through right from when they were younger. Like their nanny, their cousins, their aunties probably molested them. Or even if it's just
even their mommy's friends.
Those small nonsense that some people do. Yeah. Like, that's why now I've noticed that a lot of people that are parenting young toddlers, they're actually telling them, teaching them and educating them directly to know that this thing that is here, this is what it is called, and this is how you should be treated. Don't let anybody. I mean, that video, whenever I see the video online, I'm always like, who is that girl? Like, we need to.
Who raised you?
Who raised you?
I was going to say that. Why is he not actually pressing charges? Because somebody was saying that that he's a musician, that he should expect. No. Wait, now let me finish what the person talked. That it comes with the territory. Right? You go and touch Beyonce's breast, or the one that insured her leg. What's her name? J-Lo. That her leg is on insurance. Go and touch it and see.
Backside that is on.
I think it's Mariah Carey.
I don't know who insured leg and something. Just go and touch it and see.
Insured her legs.
Do you understand?
Tina Turner insured her legs.
So that's my point now. Just go and touch those people, and you will now understand the gravity of what it is. Because someone was saying that, but he's a musician, he comes to the territory.
Why are they saying that the men should go and insure their...
Why would you even say it's a musician, he comes to the territory? It's absolutely wrong.
It's
because
totally wrong on all levels.
But you know what, let's take a call. Hold on, ladies. Let me take a first caller. Joseph, I believe, from Kwara State. Thank you for calling.
Good evening. How is everything?
Thank you, Joseph.
Thank you. You are welcome.
Thank you so much.
I missed you for 2 days.
Thank you.
Okay. See, the topic of today, I'm the victim of such. I'm telling you, she will change me because that night, there is a film called With You that time. She will not allow me to watch that with me. And there was also a program, Tale of the Moonlight, that she will not allow me to watch it. So I always force to do whatever she wants every blessed day. Sometimes she will even ask me not to even go to school. Sometimes she will even ask me, I swear to God, she will even ask me to lick a private part. But I was young, I don't even know what I'm even doing. Then, but later, when I now grow up to the age of 17 or 18, I'm now enjoying it myself.
You see it? Thank you.
I'll be chasing her up and down. So, a parent really needs to educate their children about the sexual awareness or something like that. Thank you for the program.
Thank you.
You don't even have the right to touch a stripper. And I remember that, I mean, I'm someone who likes balance in everything that I do, even in conversations, right? And I remember we were having a conversation around this assault to rapists and all that. And I tweeted something once, and I'm saying, if a lot of men got into the idea of sex through an elder woman or an older woman assaulting them, then does it mean that most of the older generation of women we have now are also abusers and rapists? That's clearly what it means.
100%.
So it just makes it more scary, now looking at society from that lens, and now understanding that, yes, you are even saying you have a lot of men that behave inappropriate, then we even have a lot of women as well behaving inappropriately. And you're wondering, what kind of a world am I living in?
And guess what? The effect, right, the ripple effect of this, right, is what we face now. So you get into, women will get into marriages with men that, you know, are philandering all over. You are wondering, how did you start? Like, why can't you be satisfied just being with a woman? It is because
they were introduced at the wrong age.
The foundation of sex, right, it's already warped. Right? So that person cannot be satisfied, you know, with just one woman because it feels like, you know, I have to go through multiple partners. Again, because for those kind of people, most of them, as the house help is changing, so is the, because it is, if
you try another one.
See, once it starts like that, it's continuous. So I don't understand why, because if a man comes to me, no matter how hard you are, if I don't want to have sex with you, I don't want to have sex with you. But if a woman comes to a man, do you understand? The next thing you tell me you cannot control yourself. I don't understand. Do you know that thing? I can't understand it because.
Let me give you one scenario.
It's
okay,
just very lame
I know someone who said that he was introduced to sex through his nanny. Now, I'm not saying that all nannies stink, but some nannies do stink. So he grew up with, you know, them changing nannies all the time.
And they were all stinking.
You know, mummies will always pick one that daddy will not go near. So
in their head, though.
In their head, absolutely. No, they forgot the kids, but they stuck to daddy will not go there. Now, already used to it. If she doesn't stink, now that is the psychological effect of sexual harassment
and sexual assault.
And sexual assault on that young man. There are more people like that who haven't come out of their shell to say this is what they're going through.
And it will take a lot to get them out of that.
You know?
Yeah. So I wanted to quickly add something. So let's look at the music industry, for instance.
Yes.
You know, this is Rugal. And I mean, I've seen a couple of his stage performances that he doesn't, you know, there are some videos you will see musicians doing their stage performance and they entertain it.
Yes, now.
You will see that these guys, they don't mind. They would put all the oil on their body and then you can touch
this
whatever.
one is well dressed.
He doesn't play that way.
Upside down because
like
people
you should
like
know the artist.
People like D'banj. He did worse than this on stage, and nobody was grabbing him.
What I'm saying is that
Michael
some artists
Jackson,
some
nobody
artists
grabbed
allow
his
it.
crotch.
Some artists do not mind. But Ruga has never on any of his stage performance actually portrayed, that kind of thing that will make you. So why would you even try it?
So he looks like a responsible one.
The girl is uncouth.
She needs to be dealt with.
Very uncouth.
I also think that we should even just for a minute take away the sexual out of the assault and talk about assault in general. Will be mocked.
No, but wait, that's where this is the question I'm asking. Why is it so, right? So again, we have said this thing several times.
That's the disadvantage of patriarchal societies that they build by themselves.
It's not about
That's my point.
But the moment the context is what we believe in, what we think that, this is right.
I hope you know patriarchy is not just in Africa.
I know, that's why I said it's not about being patriarchal.
No, but patriarchy is mainly in Africa.
It is not mainly in Africa.
It's everywhere, but I think it's more.
Okay,
well,
let's
not.
That's a misconception.
Well, it is a misconception because you know why I'm saying that. It just occurred to me now that when they were going to elect a female president in the US, we now saw that the people that are preaching women empowerment also.
So in bringing us out of that patriarchal society, we started by saying, women should be protected, and it's even part of it as well. So that has been in the engineering that even if you are not part of the forward movement, if you see a woman that is being mistreated, your first instinct is to do something, protect her. But the man, he should be able to protect himself. So that's just what you actually just described, because that's what society expects.
It's a social concept.
Yes. Let me take youngest old man from Lagos and we'll take some comments. Thank you for calling.
Yes, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
How's it going over there?
We thank the Lord.
You see that girl, she's evil.
Which one?
I agree.
That guy is not, that post you saw him make is not because of anything, but the strength of the driving, that very place is sensitive. Not whether they touch any, if it's something like spanking on the buttocks or something like that, it's easier. But you can see that very place, it's a very sensitive place. I'm talking from a man's perspective. That place can pause the walls of a man. So I know the pain the guy went through at that moment, and seriously, I really envy his strength of control. Because if not me, I will also and slap the follow. But you see, sometimes you just have to grow and be matured. So I really appreciate the guy. But that place makes you so. Not be joke.
But wait, youngest old man.
I think I'm surprised the guy is not pressing charges.
Yes, youngest old man.
I appreciate
that's if you can identify the lady.
Say he's a good guy in that sense.
But youngest old man.
Seriously, that girl is evil. She needs to be worked on. Seriously, check into her psychological strength. Because some people are suffering from a very serious psychological derailment.
I agree.
And in fact, God, they need help. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I was going to ask youngest old man whether he believes.
Like the instant reflex would have been a kick on her face.
Burna Boy, my guy.
My G!
My G!
I'm just saying that why is there no outcry? Because a lot of so I think men, the reason we are talking about this is for you to understand that, right? We need to make things better. We need to re-engineer in the minds of a lot of people. I like what Elsie was saying when you were going with that patriarchy conversation, when you said that it is believed that a man is supposed to stand up for himself. No. It's not all men that can stand up for themselves.
They're supposed to internalize their pain.
You're supposed to internalize
and that's
their
why
pain.
they're not talking.
Yes, and expect that you take it as a man. To allow, see, when we are talking about emotions, emotions is equally shared both in a man and a woman.
And it's not damage that they will not damage the people that.
Do you understand? So, guess what? This is where I'm going with the conversation. It is
and when you look at it from a deeper point of view, you begin to realize that even the way we treat sex is one of the major issues we have in the society. Because, see, that thing is powerful. It's powerful from the health angle, it's powerful from the spiritual angle, and if you don't take care of that part of your life, or you're introduced to sexual relationship
in the wrong
way, that is the beginning of your destruction. You know,
and
so
the fact
that we are not even paying attention to it is a bigger problem that is actually a ripple. Like you said, you have men that have internalized their emotion, and then when they want to do something really mean to you, then in fact, that conversation even spiraled down to how a lot of women can be perceived as bitter, and then when you realize it, you realize that, okay,
it's coming from a place.
It's coming from something that is lacking or something that has happened to them based on their sex.
And does not know and does not know that he's insane. Someone has just been shot and your main priority is to snap pictures and then ask the person if the person is dead. Such person is sick, insane, and totally mad. I don't know why people have an abnormal and awkward priority. It is a shame and highly unacceptable. Sister Uwa, God will bless, and bless you for me in the name of Jesus.
Amen.
You just hit the nail on the head, and you were just on point. You were right. That person will not die well. God bless you, ladies. Sister Lera and Sister Isi, you are welcome back. Thank you so much, Daniel.
Hello, thank you.
Thank you.
So on this note, ladies, how do we help to make this conversation, a general conversation, regardless of gender, and not focus so much on one gender? Is it possible?
Yes, it is. So for me, I think the first thing we need to do.
Yeah.
So the first thing we need to do is we need to create awareness. We need to let people know that this is happening, and if it has happened to you, speaking up about it shouldn't scare you. Because the truth of the matter is that when you share, things like this will get sorted. Because one thing you need to know is that your mental health is the most important.
And it's not a show that you're a man.
It doesn't prove your masculinity. It doesn't prove that you're strong or weak. It doesn't prove anything like that. You just need to be better. Your mental health is most important. So please speak up. Speak up.
Sexual education is priority for every child, irrespective of sex or gender.
Absolutely.
So it's they should start teaching the children from a young age about sex. Basically,
How
that's
about
it.
you, Elsie?
I've been on this conversation and this journey for a long time, so I'll just leave it at what Isi said. Because
imagine somebody said that she was trying to check whether he was endowed, whether he's well.
Is it your business?
Like how you. Africa One, you can interact with us further. Drop a comment, and most men out there that have been sexually assaulted or you've gone through sexual abuse, please, it's time for you to speak up. Let's stop that and break that chain.
Sorosoke.
Sorosoke. See you guys live tomorrow at 8 p.m. as we bring another great conversation to your screen. Enjoy.
It for upcoming artists to blow in Nigeria.
Welcome to Plus Trending. I am Bookie November, your host, saying thank you for joining us on today's episode.
Welcome back. It's tea time on PlusTvAfrica.
Practice makes perfect. I'm not perfect yet, but I'm a lot better than I used to be.
He's a king. He's entitled to marry 100 if he wants to.
Keep trying. Don't stop. Believe in yourself and go for it. Aladana, available in many variants to nourish you every step of the way.
Overturn an election. How far has the investigation moved? And who is being held accountable? Go inside the hallways of the Hill and find out how close America was to losing and keeping its democracy.
Come on, let's go!
Next on the Inside Story, Capitol attack 1 year later. Hi, I'm Katherine Gibson, VOA's congressional correspondent. And welcome to my workplace, the U.S. Capitol. A little more than a year ago, this citadel of democracy was overrun by a mob of people with apparent intent to disrupt the official process of declaring the winner of the 2020 presidential election. 1 year later, the legal and political impact of the Capitol attack is still being determined. Ahead,